Senator Shaheen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Welcome, Secretary McMahon.
Thank you.
In your testimony, you said that your goal is to make education better, fairer, and more accountable. I think that's something that everyone on this committee could agree with. It's one of the reasons I support the TRIO programs. And I would like to align myself with the statements of Chair Capito and Chair Collins. And I can tell you that in New Hampshire, for the 2024 and 2025 school year, we had 1,468 students who were served by Upward Bound, of which 96% graduated from high school and 87% enrolled in college. 812 college students served, of which nearly 80% graduated with bachelor's degrees within 6 years. So I would say if there is a problem with accountability, let's address that, and I think the TRIO programs keep that information. But let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, because this is making a difference for students who otherwise would not be able to graduate from high school, to get into college, and to have a better future. I've seen it firsthand, like Chair Capito. When I worked at the University of New Hampshire, I had an Upward Bound student who worked with me. She never would have been in college without that program. So I've seen it firsthand, and I know how it works, and I would urge you to reassess whether eliminating those programs is the best way to help those students have a better future. I also want to ask you about a particular issue that we're having in the Mascoma Valley School District in New Hampshire. As you know, schools across New Hampshire and the country have really been challenged by the pandemic, have been trying to get back to some of the successes that happened before that pandemic. And the school district, the Mascoma Valley School District, which is in a rural part of New Hampshire, completed a project to improve ventilation at 2 elementary schools for the student safety. It was a real problem with the HVAC system and ensuring that the students could be safe at school. The school district was approved for late liquidation after facing challenges with finding contractors to do the work. The school district completed the project with the assurance from the federal government that the cost would be reimbursed. Unfortunately, in May, the department denied their reimbursement, even though the school district had followed the rules and had previously received approval from the department. Secretary McMahon, will you work with me to ensure that rural schools, including the Mascoma Valley School District, which undertook these projects to protect their students, will receive the funding that they were promised by the department?
Yes, and I'd look forward to getting back to you on that particular issue as well, Senator. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Madam Secretary. I know that when you were the administrator at the SBA and we worked closely together, you would have been outraged by that kind of denial when business had been promised the funding. So I'm sure that you will look into it and hopefully be able to help us. Educators around the country have been really struggling to ensure that students with disabilities receive the education they deserve. It's been an ongoing challenge since the Congress passed the Individuals with Disabilities Act, when we promised that we would give a lot more money to school districts than we have. It supports schools around the country through national activities such as technical assistance that can help states improve their special education systems. In New Hampshire, with the help of expert guidance from the National Center for Systemic Improvement, which is funded by IDEA, the Department of Education conducted a successful initiative to raise literacy rates for students with disabilities. Unfortunately, the President's budget proposal recommends eliminating this support. And so I'm not clear on why the department would eliminate programs that are working in states and force them to develop their own programs when there's already an effort that's been successful. So can you help me understand that?
Well, I'm happy very much for the success in New Hampshire. And I know that there are many of those programs around the country that are successful. We're not cutting any of the IDEA funding. It is staying intact. And so the President really has a commitment to make sure that that funding does get into the states. However, there is more flexibility for the states to handle those programs which they think is better for their state. So if that program would be working in New Hampshire, I don't see why it wouldn't be able to continue the way it's operating.
Well, as I understand
And
it,
I'd like to get back to you on that.
that would be helpful because as I understand the president's budget would eliminate this successful program that provides help with the National Center for Systemic Improvement.
Okay, let me get back to you on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.